Alex Garland, one of the most unique voices in Hollywood, right now, is having kind of a big year in 2025. He's got Warfare coming out this week, and in late June, he's got 28 Years Later, which he wrote and is directed by Danny Boyle, which I believe is their fourth collaboration. So I thought, hey, he's having a year this year, so why don't we take the time today to rank some of his work? He's only directed like 4 or 5 movies, so we'll start with the movies that he's directed, and then as a bonus, we'll come around and we'll talk about some of the stuff he's written, and we'll rank those. So this will be stuff like Devs, 28 Days Later, Sunshine, and several others. So stick around as we rank Alex Garland. All right, I could go in order of releases, but we're not doing that. We're just going to jump around. So why don't we start with his most recent? Yeah, so Civil War, a movie that I think is pretty controversial. I think there's a lot of people who love this movie. I think there's a lot of people who hate this movie. I feel like a large consensus of people who hated this movie felt misled by the marketing, maybe. I think a lot of people were expecting a big war movie, like a Black Hawk Down. And, as a fan of Alex Garland, I saw the trailer and I knew this was not going to be an action movie. Alex Garland does not make action movies. He makes kind of thought-provoking dramas. And, I personally was not expecting an action film, so I didn't feel misled. I felt like I got exactly what I thought I was going to get. But I can understand how people felt misled and thought they were getting like an action-packed, shoot-'em-up movie about a civil war in America. I love this movie. Love this movie. I saw it twice in theaters in IMAX, and I bought it on 4K Blu-ray. I actually watched it about a couple months ago. So I've seen this movie 3 times. So Civil War, what I love about Alex Garland is he seems to have perfected, the film about a journey. Like, he's done this so many times, whether it's, Civil War or Sunshine or 28 Days Later to a certain extent. Annihilation, The Beach to a certain extent. Some of his movies that he writes are about characters or a character going on a journey, and he's done it so many times that I think he's just, like I said, I think he's perfected it. And case in point is Civil War. I thought Civil War was incredible. The movie acts as like the characters going on a journey, but they have these like small vignettes throughout the movie, and with each one it gets escalates and escalates and gets more tense and more tense until it kind of culminates with the Jesse Plemons scene, which everyone knows at this point. What kind of American are you? That scene to this day, even watching the movie 3 times, that scene still hits so hard. And yeah, it all culminates in a big action set piece that takes place in Washington, D.C., which I think is fantastic. I love the ending of this movie. I don't know. I was along for the ride of Civil War. I like that, the Civil War itself and why it started is all just background noise. It's not really about the war itself or how it started. It's about these, journalists and photographers who were trying to cover the war. I thought that was a cool aspect of the film. But yeah, I personally love this film. I think it's amazing. Like I said, I saw it 3 times. It's freaking fantastic. I'm going to go A with Civil War. Loved this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of last year or the year before. Did that come out last year? I don't know. What is time? What is it? But yeah, Civil War for me is an A. Okay, then there's Men. This is probably, if I were to guess, this is probably Alex Garland's least liked film. I think a lot of people did not like this movie. I can understand why. I think this is his most kind of surreal and weird. This movie is very, very, very weird, even for Alex Garland. I'm mixed on it. I think it's fine. I think it's better than people say it is, but it's not like great. I think the movie in the last like 30 minutes is so like bananas. It's hard to like find a lot of enjoyment of it unless you know what's going on, unless you can kind of piece together the messages and the themes. That last 30 minutes is so just insane. But everything leading up to it, I think, is pretty effective. I think it's a very creepy, atmospheric horror film about a woman who goes alone to a cottage to kind of figure out her feelings about the death of her husband. and she's being stalked by this this naked wilderness guy. And meanwhile, all of the village locals are played by the same actor. And yeah, it's a very weird movie, and it's okay. Great performances, great moments of tension and terror, especially like again the last like 40 minutes of the movie is pretty balls to the walls. But yeah, I would say it's not his best. I would agree with that. So, oh gosh, it's either a B or a C. I'm gonna go C, mainly because I don't necessarily. I've seen Men once, and I don't really have the desire to watch it again. Unlike his other movies I could pop on and I'm happy to rewatch. But Men, I'm just like, I think I got it the first time. So yeah, Men to me is a C. Okay, Ex Machina, the big one, the big tamale in Alex Garland's filmography, the one that kind of put him on the map as a director. And for very good reason. I just rewatched this the other day, and it's still amazing. It's still fantastic. Oscar Isaac is so damn good in this movie. And what I love about Ex Machina is that you think you know what the plot is, and you're along for the ride. Like you kind of understand what's going on a surface level. But then the last 30 minutes hits, and the whole plot kind of shifts and evolves into something kind of completely different. I don't want to ruin it for people who have not seen Ex Machina, but let's just say that, you know, our lead characters aren't necessarily the lead characters that we want to root for. So that kind of shifts, and I love that shift, and I love the questions that are asked about AI and artificial intelligence, gender, you know, to a certain extent. Yeah, it's a fantastic film. It's moody. It's weird. Yeah, I think the movie is only an hour and 30 minutes long. It's very brisk. The movie starts right away, like right from, I think the first like 2 minutes, like we're already on the helicopter going to the compound, we'll call it. And yeah, there's no wasted time here. It is phenomenal. I love this movie to death. It is one of the best science fiction movies that have come out in the past, 15 years or so, 10 years. How old is this movie? Anyways, fantastic film. To me, Ex Machina is a piece of science fiction. We are going S. Ex Machina is S tier. One of the best science fiction movies. One of A24's, best movies. Ex Machina is a banger. It is phenomenal. Okay, now Annihilation, a movie that no one went and saw except for me. I can sit here and gloat and say I saw it opening weekend. Again, I love Alex Garland, so I've showed up to every single one of his movies. So Annihilation. This movie's great. This movie is great. Again, another one of his journey films. A bunch of characters, a group of women going into I forget what they call it in the movie, but it's basically this big. I don't know, blobby thing that's encompassed part of the world, and they've sent in people to go inside of it, and no one has ever come back. So a group of women and scientists go into the Shimmer, I think is what they call it. They go into the Shimmer, and it's their journey through the Shimmer to get to a lighthouse, which they think is the kind of ground zero of where the Shimmer comes from. And yeah, a lot of cool imagery here. The art department killed it. One of the best monster scenes I've seen in recent memories. There is a bear, this kind of deformed bear that can mimic sounds of its prey. So there's a moment, very, very tense. It is the most memorable scene in the film, where a couple characters are tied up and the bear shows up. And instead of roaring like a bear would, it roars a scream of one of the victims it just ate earlier in the film. And it is so tense and disturbing, and it's so good. How someone can come up with that is so crazy to me, but it totally works. I love how weird the movie gets in the last 15, 20 minutes. Maybe a little too weird for some, but it's very, very freaking nutso. It's a wacko ending. With no dialogue. It's all through score and character actions on screen. It is amazing. Great performances from the main cast. Yeah, just a lot of cool imagery, a lot of Dredd, Dredd kind of blankets the whole film. And yeah, I love Annihilation. I think it's fantastic. It's very underrated. If you've not seen Annihilation, please give it a shot. Although I think it was on Netflix a year or two ago, and I think it kind of got a second breath air, some fresh breath air on Netflix a couple years ago. But if you have not seen Annihilation, please check it out. It is phenomenal. We're going to give Annihilation an A. Okay, well, funny enough, that's all the movies that Alex Garland has directed. Like I said, Warfare comes out this week. I plan on seeing it on Wednesday. I think what I'll do is after Warfare comes out, I will jump into the comments and I'll just say, Warfare is a D or a C or an A or an S. And I'll just kind of add it to the comments. But now, as a bonus, let's talk about some of the things that he has written. So why don't we start with... Let's start with Devs, a show that came out in March of 2020 in the height of a pandemic. I think it may have gone under the radar. There was a lot happening in March of 2020. Devs, it is a 8-episode. I think it's an 8-episode FX original, miniseries on Hulu. And man, I am split on this one. I am split because on one hand, I think that everything that happens in this show that has to do around Devs itself, like what they're doing and the characters involved in Devs, all of that was so fascinating and gripping and thought-provoking. But then we get to the lead character, Lily, and Lily is not involved in Devs, and she kind of has her own kind of subplot where she's trying to unsolve a mystery, which is a mystery we already kind of know the answer to as an audience. So on one hand, everything that revolves around Devs in the show is phenomenal. Everything that revolves around Lily, I could not care less about. In fact, I don't think that Lily's contribution to the first half of the show is all that interesting or intense, or it's just kind of like, and I think Lily as a character, I was not a fan of. She's very quiet, very deadpan. There's not a whole lot of charisma from Lily. So yeah, I on one hand, like, part of the show I love, part of the show I did not love. However, when you get to the last 3 episodes of the show, both of those storylines converge, and the last 3 episodes, I'm not kidding, is phenomenal. It is so good. I don't want to spoil too much if you've not seen Devs, but the last 3 episodes has to deal with time, and I'm just going to kind of leave it there. And like Alex Garland, he poses a lot of questions and doesn't give a whole lot of answers, and it's up to you, the audience, to kind of like piece things together, and it makes you think as an audience, like, what would I do? How is this working? Like, there's a lot of concepts that happen in the last 3 episodes that are so interesting, and so, like, I was like smiling through most of those episodes because I'm like, this is so cool that we're watching this. It's so cool that these characters are having these kind of conversations. Yeah, the last 3 episodes of the show is incredible. It is incredible. I would say, it is a little bit of a slow burn, but I do think the slow burn is worth it. If you want to stick it out for those first, 4 or 5 episodes, it is well worth it for the last 3 episodes, because the last 3 episodes hit so hard. It is so good. So yeah, Devs as a whole, I'm gonna go B with Devs. Because again, half of it I like, half of it I didn't. Leaving the last 3 episodes out of it, those first 4 or 5 episodes, again, most of it I enjoyed or loved, and the other half, every time Lily was on screen, I was just kind of like, all right, can we wrap up Lily stuff so we can get back to Devs? So yeah, for that, I'm going to give it a B. But pretty solid show. If you've not seen Devs and you're an Alex Garland fan, please check it out. It's on Hulu. It's pretty damn good. Haha, here we are, 28 days later. I'm old enough to say that I saw 28 Days Later in theater. I think I actually saw it more than once. I was in high school when this came out, and man, no one had seen anything like this. Like, this started, if people don't know, this started the kind of fast-running, intense zombie film. Before 28 Days Later, most zombie films, if not all zombie films, were kind of like the George A. Romero stuff. Which those are fantastic, don't get me wrong. but 28 Days Later brought an intensity and a visceral, just rawness to the zombie genre that we'd never really seen before. And yeah, 28 Days Later was an explosion. Like, after 28 Days Later, we saw so many zombie movies. It brought back the zombie genre in a big way, and it all started with 28 Days Later. This movie is fantastic. I love this movie. I loved it the moment I saw it. Great performance from Cillian Murphy, one of his earliest roles. And yeah, another one of his journey films. Again, for the most part, for the most of this movie, there are people who are trying to get from point A to point B. And yeah, just another example of how Alex Garland is really good at journey films. I love how this movie ends. I love that, for most of this movie, the characters have this hope. And then when they get to where they need to be, where they want to be, where they are going to find that hope, it is twisted and turned to the point where it's like, there is no hope. This is the world we live in. There's nothing we can kind of do about it. And yeah, I love the last, 30 to 40 minutes of this film. It's so thought-provoking and interesting. And yeah, 28 Days Later goes down as one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. It is just one hell of an experience. If you've not seen 28 Days Later, please, for the love of God, go watch it. It is phenomenal. I have no qualms whatsoever with putting it at the very top in S tier. Yeah, one of my favorite horror films. 28 Days Later is fantastic. Okay, then there's Dredd. The funny thing about Dredd, when I think back on Dredd, is that it drew a lot of comparisons to the movie The Raid. They came out, I think, in the same year, and they basically, for the most part, have the same plot, which is that both movies, The Raid and Dredd, are about a person or a group of people going into a high-rise that is run by criminal lords, and throughout the movie they have to, get to the top to get to the bad guy. But luckily, that's where the similarities start and end. Dredd and The Raid are two very completely different movies with two very different, completely different tones. And yeah, Dredd is a blast, man. This movie is so much fun. It's got a nice energy to it. It's very cyberpunk, techno atmosphere to it. A lot of good action. I love the use of slow motion. I think they call it slow-mo in the movie, where characters take drugs and they do a lot of cool slow motion cinematography. And Carl Urban as Dredd. He's basically Batman at this point. He never takes his mask off the entire movie, and then it's just him grunting and kicking ass. So if you're a fan of Carl Urban and you have not seen Dredd, please check this one out because it's Carl Urban doing his thing, and it's amazing. So yeah, I love Dredd. It's a lot of fun. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's a solid, fun action film. So we're going to give Dredd a B. I don't think it's quite A territory, but yeah, it's a pretty solid, fun science fiction action romp. Okay, Sunshine, another Danny Boyle and Alex Garland collaboration. They collaborated on 28 Days Later, Sunshine, The Beach, which we'll get to after this, and then 28 years later coming up. Sunshine, this movie is another one of those kind of thought-provoking films about the sun is dying, so a group of scientists fly out towards the sun with big bombs to kind of reboot the sun. And it's about their journey, again, another journey film from Alex Garland. A lot of memorable set pieces. I think Kanata's death is one of the most memorable sequences of the film. Another great performance from Cillian Murphy. And I love that the end is, I think the end's a little messy. Don't get me wrong. I think this movie is a lot of fun and a great ride until the last 30 minutes. It gets a little muddled. But I think that in, the ending, as muddled as it is, there's some interesting ideas and concepts, which is that there was a crew that went out there to reboot the sun before them, and they come across the survivor from that mission, and that survivor is like, hey, let's not reboot the sun because all we're doing is prolonging the inevitable, and if we reboot the sun's just going to die again in the future, and our great-grandchildren or great-great-great-great-grandchildren are going to suffer the consequences, so let's not reboot the sun, let's just end it all now. And so that person ends up trying to stop them. Spoiler, sorry. And I just love that idea of getting to the end and having someone who's trying to stop you, but for moral reasons. I find that to be very interesting and thought-provoking. But yeah, Sunshine, it's fantastic. Like this movie a lot. Not the greatest thing in the world. Like I said, the last 30 minutes is kind of muddled, even though the message is interesting and fascinating. But yeah, so we're going to give Sunshine a B. All right, let me check my list. I think this might be the last one we're going to talk about. Yeah, this last one we're going to talk about today, which is The Beach. The Beach was actually a novel written by Alex Garland. Before he was a screenwriter, he wrote a book called The Beach, and then got turned into a movie. And here we are, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and directed by Danny Boyle. Their first, Alex Garland and Danny Boyle's first collaboration. And yeah, The Beach is okay. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I think the movie has a lot of good energy for the first half, but the second half I feel kind of drags a little bit. But yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio is phenomenal in this movie. I love the idea and the concept behind it, where like there's this random island out in the middle of nowhere where there's a community, and they want to keep people out because the more people you bring in, or the more the community is exposed to the real world. A lot of people could be upset about that and have that stop or be ruined. And what they have on the island, is they got a good thing going. And of course, DiCaprio coming in kind of destroys the whole thing in a sense. But yeah, The Beach is fine. It's okay. Like I said, I think that I enjoy the first half more than the second half. But it's a fun little romp. It's a fun little Leonardo DiCaprio, Danny Boyle, Alex Garland romp. But yeah, not in love with this one, but it's still pretty solid. It's kind of how I feel about Men. I don't love Men, but it's still, pretty solid. That's kind of how I feel about The Beach. But yeah, so there we go. There is Alex Garland's work. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. Like I said, I'm going to see Warfare on Wednesday, so what I'll probably end up doing is just jumping into the comments, and I'll pin it at the top, and I'll just say, hey, Warfare is, where I would rank it. I'm very excited for Warfare, very excited for 28 Years Later. Alex Garland is as you can see, one of my favorite directors working in Hollywood today. That's why I want to sit down and talk about his stuff. So yeah, that's my ranking of Alex Garland's work. Please let me know in the comments below what you think about the ranking. How would you rank them differently? Let me know if I'm completely off base here. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And until the next time, I will see you on the next one.